Welcome. My name is Mark Anthony Dubose Jr. I was born July 4th, 1986. I want to say thank you for tuning in to try to figure out some more about your dog. And today, I want to talk about something that I have to. It was a great movie I watched years ago, but I gotta like tell on myself before someone tries to do it to me. And I'm gonna say something that I just have come to realize as being just the reality of working with some dogs. And that comes down to, Mark, you telling me it's gonna take me 4 months, 5 months, a year, 2 years to get my dog to know how to walk good on leash? You clearly don't know how to train dogs, because that guy over there, he's able to get it done in 5 minutes. And there's some videos out there, they're showing it live and they got the whole thing. The dog was pulling and pulling and they're showing the whole thing. And in 5 minutes, that dog it's not pulling. So you clearly don't know what you're doing, because you out here just that don't make no sense, man. You got people out here that can do it in 5 and you talking months. You know, you clearly don't know animals. And that's something that I have to give some pushback on and just say that I know that this is why someone like me doesn't get hired up front. I'm the third or the fourth, fifth trainer, because the first trainer comes in with that 5 minutes, and then they want that and think that that person knows animals, because they clearly know how to get stuff done fast. They get it done fast. It means the faster they get it done, that means the better that they know how to train dogs and the better the trainer they are, because the faster they're able to get stuff done. And that's where I'm gonna have to give a lot of pushback and say, the faster you get stuff done, I think the worse off you are, because you're doing something to that animal that is very, very inappropriate, to the way that's why I get called in on the fourth or the fifth time, because now you're running into a scenario that your dog is doing some things that you're just very, very, very unsure about. And it's something that is unfortunate, because it's just it's a good thing in sales in reality. We can't blame ourselves. We have all bought and purchased something that we shouldn't have bought and purchased, and realized that it really wasn't anything great in the end. But we got it thinking, it was gonna be it. But we just got sold something. And when we got sold something in a way that we got, at the end of the day, manipulated. And that's what I really see to come down to working with these dogs, is a mass level of manipulation. It's not a matter of actually truly understanding the animals for what the animals are, but just treating them as if they're some stuffed animals, some robots, some dolls, some inanimate objects, just nothingness. And thinking that we can do whatever we want, how we want, to get the dog to perform how we want. But that performance is very, very short-lived. That performance isn't something that is long-lasting. That performance is something that is just for here, for now, and then later on, 2 days later, it's no longer there. And that's why 2 days later, you need more pressure, and or a different type of treat, and or a different type of toy, or different this, and different that, and this and this. And that's why, for me, I really come to understand, just listening to who I would say as being some of the best trainers, animal trainers on this planet. They all are on the same understanding that it takes time. And it takes consistency, it takes patience, it takes a willingness to just want to get up and do. It takes dedication. It takes just a whole lot of, at the end of the day, compromise. There's some things that I don't do so that I can go for longer walks with my dog, such as I can go for 3-4 hours a day for a walk. Someone says, I don't have time to do that. And I'm gonna almost slap a guarantee, especially if you live here in the United States of America. I'm gonna almost guarantee you have 4 hours a day to walk your dog. But you instead use that and do that with something else. And one thing that a lot of people have that I know that I don't have is such as a television. I don't have TV. I don't watch TV. I don't do any of that. And even when I'm going for a walk out here, I'll have a book playing so I can listen to a book along the way, so I can dual purpose some things and really just get more information and be able to experience this world even more. And some of us say, I don't have the time. It's a matter of what we're compromising on our days to be able to get that time. And all the animal trainers I know that are just really, really, really good, they're able to show you their own stuff with what it is that they're talking about. Not saying, oh, it'll come later, or this will be this way, or this will be that way. And it's something that is confusing and complicated, I believe, for a lot of us to see. And that's why we're being sold things. If you get it in 5 minutes, you're gonna be good to go. But the main thing that I really want people to quite understand, the way that I personally really have come to see and understand these dogs. And it's not even just these dogs, but it's like all of my animals. I just sit and I watch baby chicks, and I watch my chickens, and I just look at them like it's a live TV show right there in my face, to just be able to interact with and be able to experience. And it's something that I think is we're losing as a human species, like real world experience. We want it now. I want the pass the test and get the grade and get into the work. I want it now, without having to deal with everything along the way, to get the real true experience that you want it and need it, to be able to enjoy what it is that you actually have. The faster we get things, the faster we don't want it. I don't know why, but this is just human nature right here, people. The faster your dog looks perfect, the faster you're like, I don't really care for it. That's why you get a second dog. Then the second dog comes in and you're like, whoa, I thought I was ready for this. Like now I got a huge hot mess going on because the first one was done in like say 30 days. You took it somewhere, they did something to it, it's good to go in 30 days, it looks good. And you're like, this is nice, and it's looking good for the first year. It usually doesn't happen in the first year or two. Something happens a little bit further down the road. That's why we get in this sense of like, oh, things are good to go. But as fast as we get it, as fast as we are realizing that we're having new issues and new problems. And then if we don't, the faster we just don't appreciate it, and the faster we just don't do anything with it even more. Especially if you got a set button on the dog that you can push to get the dog to just calm down and lay down. The more that you just push that button to get that dog to calm down, the more that you're just not going to actually do what's needed for that dog to actually truly calm down, which is exercise them and get them to do stuff and interact with them at all. You're not even like letting them on the furniture to even, I ain't trying to tell people how to live their houses, but you don't even like pet the dog anymore. You're not even like doing nothing with the dog. You're not even like giving the dog attention. As soon as the dog is able to be calm, you just basically, the easiest way to say it, you put the dog in the closet and you don't do anything more with it. As opposed to knowing that living a real world experience with these dogs is what's going to be able to bring you that fulfillment in that dog and your experience with it. You're going to enjoy it so much more. And that's why for me, when I say it's going to take you a year, just dedicate a year at minimum. I'll just say, if you got you an 8-week-old puppy, just know that the next 2 years, you're going to be putting quite a bit in to get what it is that you're looking for. And if you try to fast track to be like 2 or 3 months, in 2 or 3 months, you're going to have something pretty nice. And then in 2 or 3 years, you're going to have something that is going to be just a hot mess on your hands. You're just like, what the heck is going on right now? I thought I was good to go. I did all the puppy classes and all the things, and it was good. But now I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's going on right now. And that just keeps on happening for more and more and more people. And it's an unfortunate thing that when someone says to you, it's going to take time. It's going to take time. That we pass up on that at first. We'll circle back to it later on. But at first, we're just like, nope. I need this now because my dog is jumping on me right now, and I got to fix it now, or this, or this, or that, or that. And we got all these excuses and all these things and all this stuff that we put onto it. And that's why we need it right now, because if not, then I got to get rid of the dog. But we weren't thinking about these things when we first got that animal. And it's something that is confusing because we can see video after video after video on this YouTube that say, hey, I can fix your dog from jumping in 5 minutes. Let's go real with it. With 5 seconds, I can teach a dog to stop jumping. And then you see him do something, and you're like, hey, it actually worked. So then you think, I can do that with my dog too. And you try that with your dog, and you realize it may have worked, but it's not working the way that you thought it should work. You thought it was going to be good to go. You did that one time, and the dog is no longer going to jump on anybody. Now the dog is going to be like said perfect in all scenarios and all everything. And you realize like that actually isn't the case. And then you watch the video of the dogs that are barking and going crazy behind the fence, and then you see the next video where the dogs are nice and calm, not realizing like how that was set up. Because if I come to your house and the dog is barking at me, and then I hang out with your dog for a couple hours, your dog's no longer going to be barking at me. So then we run into that scenario that the dog actually isn't any better. It's just better because I've been hanging out there for a long time. And it's very, very, very deceiving looking, and it makes you think that I should be able to get this in 5 minutes. And if I'm not getting it in 5 minutes, then, I'm doing something wrong. As opposed to thinking maybe the information you're getting is not right. And that's the part where we get messed up with working with these dogs, because we get in our brain that we didn't follow up with it, we didn't follow through, and that's why the dog is messed up. And that's why you won't say basically anything negative about the person that you're having help you do this stuff with your dog. Because you're like, oh, it's your fault. But maybe you just got the wrong information thinking that in 5 minutes I'll be able to have success. I'm telling you, the way to really enjoy these dogs and pretty much any animal for that matter is to spend the time. Take the time needed. Spend the time and understand that it's going to take time to get what you're looking for, because that's what's going to make you really, really appreciate everything that you have in the end. The more that you're just in this rampage, I need it nows, the more that you are not going to value anything that you got going on. And that's where we're struggling today as a human being all around, and not just working with a silly dog, is where we're struggling with this with pretty much everything. If you can't give me this right now, then I don't want nothing to do with you. Oh, come on, guys. Come on. If you can't give me this now, then I don't want nothing to do with you. And that's stuff that is just very, very, very misleading on how to be able to have like something of true value on this planet. And that's unfortunately being sold to us as what everything should be. If your dog isn't looking good in 5 minutes, and the person that you're working with isn't able to do that, then that person doesn't know what the heck they're doing. And that is where I think the I guess I can say the lies. The lies start at first is showing something that's like, there's magic tricks basically. Showing a magic trick and trying to make people think that that is real. But it's just a magic trick. And then when you start to see and peel the layers back from that magic trick, you start to see the realness. And you start to get to the understanding of like what actually is going on here. And really see like, should I really pay attention to this? Because as a whole, as a look at, it looks good. But behind closed doors, things are like an extreme hot mess. Like things are not all that great at all. And that's something for me that's why I greatly appreciate being able to just show my stuff. I don't show my stuff off as like, oh, it's so perfect. And in reality, straight up, I'm kind of like every video I make, hoping that my dogs mess up or do something, just so that I can show what it is and how I take care of and how I handle and what I do, and doing that over and over and over to show you like there's no magic show here. There's no trickery going on. Stuff's not perfect. And I don't ever want my stuff to be appeared and set up to look to be some sort of perfect thing. And that's just something that unfortunately, majority of people are unable to do. They got to have their stuff looking so precise for it to be on camera. They got to have their stuff so precise to be able to show. As opposed to like, let me see the process of what's going on here so that I can figure out, is that something that I actually want to be able to pay attention to? And that's something that, for me, I'm a dog trainer that's going to say to you, it's going to take months to get anything that you're looking for. It's going to take months. It's going to take a while. It's going to take months to the point that you're going to feel like nothing is actually getting any better. But I'm telling you, the more and more that you just keep on working on it, the more and more that you keep on going, the more and more that you keep on doing, the more and more that you're going to continue to keep seeing things just get better and better in a natural way, not an artificial way. We got artificial stuff we could do with these dogs today that's really smart. I'm not going to say that I'm against any tools. I understand the need and the desire and everything for them all. I think they're like I don't know. To me, an e-collar is actually, it's a really cool tool that a human being has created to be able to effectively communicate with dogs. And it's something that is just, I don't know, they're really neat. But at the end of the day, they're really neat for a dog that has, like, straight up, I'm just gonna say, a purpose, like something that it has to do, like something that needs to get done, not just a hanging out pet dog in your home that's just relaxing. If I got a dog that is like that, for instance, a border collie that is going after the sheep, and I want to be able to convince this border collie not to go after the sheep in such a way, I can use an e-collar to explain to him what it is that I'm effectively looking for without it being confusing in any sort of way. And that's getting a dog dialed in for some good work. So I see the need and the desire for these tools. But as far as you thinking that you want to use that to get your dog to get on the place bed and it got off because it shouldn't have got off, to get a dog to stop jumping on you, that's where we're, at the end of the day, I can say we're abusing the tools for what the tool is created to be able to use for. And we're just using it because we think that we should be able to use it. And you don't actually need it. And in most cases, the use of that tool is actually slowing you way, way down, because you're using something that is just like too much. It's too much. You're trying to dig one hole and you go out and bring a whole construction company in, as opposed to just grabbing you a shovel. Is it going to take you more time to shovel out that hole? Yeah. It's going to take more work. Yeah. It's going to take more effort. Yeah. You're going to get tired too. Yeah. Like all that's going to happen. But all you wanted was that one hole done, and just get it done. And just take the time, get tired, and deal with it, and then you're going to get it, and it's going to be really, really nice in the end. And you don't have to worry about, I can go down to the equipment, the tracks of the equipment driving there. You got to fix all that. It killed all the grass nearby. Breaking down a fence to be able to get the equipment back there to be able to dig the hole. You're like destroying so much to just get that one hole done, that if you would have just spent time on just putting in that work with that shovel, you wouldn't have to worry about fixing all that other mess that you created to bring all this extra stuff in to try to like actually get what you wanted done. And that's what happens with a lot of the equipment. Do they work? Yeah. And do they work fast? Oh yeah. And they're amazing, like in reality. But as far as the long term, you fix this one thing now, but now you got other things that you need to fix, other things that you need to worry about. And some of that stuff that got broken down, you may not be able to fix it. It's just, it's gone. It's gone, and you're not going to get it back. And the unfortunate thing, where most of the stuff with these dogs go, is you lose respect, and you lose, worst case is trust. And once you lose that, a lot of dogs, it's not so easy to get that back again. Like you got to do, that is hard. I don't know why, but it's hard to get that trust back again. And anybody can say that about being in any kind of relationship that you've ever been in with anybody, with another human being. As soon as you lose trust, it's hard. It's hard to listen to anything. I mean, that person can be like a mathematician and you come to them with a math problem and you say, what's 8 plus 8? And they look at you and they say it's 16. You're like, I don't know. Like, that's how hard the trust is to get back with something that they, you know, they know. You can bring the calculator out and show it to you and say, it's 16, man. And you're like, I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know. Like, I don't know if I can believe you or not. And that's what happens. And we can get stuff done really fast, but you're going to lose other things that are going to be really, really hard to gain back, and if even get back at all. And that's why for me, I talk about dogs in a way of understanding what the actual true dog is, knowing that it's not something that's instant overnight. Because if you want to truly have a great experience with your animals, you have to put that time in. You have to put that work in. You have to. You can't just, I want it in 5 minutes and think that you're going to have something good. And that's the unfortunate thing that we're being sold to. And that's why for me, someone would say, oh, you're talking about 4 months to get a dog to be able to walk with you. You don't want to listen to that because that guy says in 5 minutes. So I clearly don't know what I'm doing. But the main thing is we need to look at the longevity here, not the right now. Right now, yes, I could get this Dalmatian on point. I know I've done a lot of e-collar work. I've done it on a lot of dogs. And I know how to make stuff look good. Really, I don't know why. I got a little, like, this is something I can even put a little course together that I know. I've came up with something that I'm just like, this works, man. I've seen it work so many times and it's beautiful. But the main thing is I had problems somewhere else and I couldn't stand that. So that's why I had to start getting away from it. But can I get a dog to recall on it? Yeah, give me 2 lessons and your dog's recalling. Can I get a dog to stop running out of the fence? I could create an invisible fence with that dog without even having it automatic, but the dog just knowing I don't do that. Yes, really fast with the dog. And I could do so much with that piece of equipment, but I was realizing I was damaging things everywhere else. And that just, that got in me of just, I can't be about that. I can't do stuff like that because I don't want to have to like try to fix and deal with this other stuff everywhere else. Because the main thing that happens is if you lose the trust in the dog, trying to build it up with somewhere else, it's almost, man, it's almost impossible. It is, it straight up is. It's almost impossible. The dog is just always going to look at you really, really, really suspicious. Like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? What you got? What you got? What's going on? And then we got all these things out here that are like, oh, the dog, it fades away, this and this. And still again, I just want to see it. I want to see it. I want to see the dogs that were trained and then 3 years later, the dogs are no longer needing it, requiring it anymore. Where I can say that this shepherd here, he had an e-collar on him for, I'd say at least 2 years. And I would say, oh, he good to go. I only had to give him a tap like once a week, less than that even a lot of times. But the second I took that thing off and he did something that he realized that I couldn't give him a tap for, we were back to square one. We were back to absolutely nothingness. We are back to just, I don't care what we just did, it was for nothing. Like everything was for nothing. And then in reality, it got kind of worse because that's where I had to like let him know, like, I'm good, man, we're safe, it's okay. And then we started to get into a better place. And it's something that is very misleading on saying that it's going to go away for one. And two, we don't need to rely upon it. But most of these trainers out here, because I can't stop but just keep watching. You guys talking about how it fades away. When I hear any trainer say that, I scan all your channel to find your dogs. And I watch videos with your dogs that you've had for 5 years, and you're still giving them a stem on that e-collar every like 20, 30 seconds. You see a ball, stem. You see a kid, stem. You're still doing that over and over again. But yet you're preaching to the world that you don't need it. You're preaching to the world that the prong isn't required and oh, this and that. Oh, this type of dog, it needs that. And that's why it's a tough dog, so it needs it. No, that's not true at all. These are all just straight up lies. Straight up just absolute high level manipulation to try to make you think something that just isn't true. The dogs don't need it. Could they benefit from it? I don't know, maybe, depending on what you got going on. But for most people, no, you're not gonna benefit. You're only gonna find that you're gonna see results in one place, but somewhere else, things are gonna continue to keep on getting worse and worse and worse. And that's something that I don't know how else to say than just try to be as honest as I can with everyone and saying that there's just no magic. You do this one time and your dog's gonna be good. And I never want to be a person that's ever going to like speak about anything about that with dogs, because I do know that it takes time to make sure that we're constantly building the correct relationship with each other and not trying to have to fix other things because I'm doing this now. And that's what puts us in a jam, because we fix one thing. I fixed the dog from eating the sock, but now the dog is doing this over here instead. I fixed the dog from jumping, but now the dog is doing this instead. And that's just what continuously keeps on happening over and over and over. And I see this all the time. I don't think I've ever ran into something that doesn't happen like that. I always see that, and that's stuff that I want some more people to just think about and just look at. When you watch that 5-minute video to tell you how to do it in 5 minutes, you fix that. But I'm telling you, look other places, because I'm gonna guarantee you that. That's a guarantee. I'm gonna slap on that you're seeing something somewhere else now, and that's why we get stuck in this like binge watching of dog training stuff, because we fixed this one. It's like I fixed loose sheets walking in 5 minutes. I got it. That worked. Oh my goodness. I watched man, I won't talk people's names, but I watched that one video and I just stopped and I pulled and I stopped and I pulled and the dog stopped doing it. And then you're like, well, oh, this is going on in the house. And then this is going on in the house. And then this is going on outside. And then you're like trying to find every single time you keep trying all these different techniques, you keep finding a new problem somewhere else. And I'm straight up honest. This is something that I used to say to people walking into their houses 3 years ago, when I would say, I'm here to help you with your dog. And I would say, hey, we're going to be able to, I didn't know. I was just blindly just speaking what I already knew were facts. I'm going to fix the loose leash walking, but I guarantee you in 2 weeks, you're going to have something else that you're going to want to have to work on, because you're going to see something new come. But without even like really thinking it through, like I would just speak that language out to people, because I knew something was going on here. I knew I'll fix this, but now he's going to be jumping on the counters. I fixed the counters and now he's going to be digging something. I fixed the digging and then now he's going to, it was a cycle that just kept going and going and going and going and going. Never ever getting to the situation where it's just like, dang, can we just chill? Can I just hang out with the dog? Do I have to just always be on top of the dog forever? Or can I just like put the dog in the house and just hang out? And that's what led me to a whole realization of all this 5-minute stuff is not actually 5 minutes. It's giving you 5 minutes on one thing, but it's giving you new issues somewhere else. And the issues somewhere else are, at the end of the day, more challenging than the initial thing that you thought you wanted to get fixed. That's why for me, I don't know what it is. I'm backtracked on a lot of people that I was working for before. And thankfully I got an appointment coming up. I got 2 appointments this next week of people 3 years ago. Like the dog looked good, but now why are you calling me? Because something's going on. And it's just like to me to prove that, hey, something's going on. And then for me to just have to just take the hit, you know? I can't charge you for it. Even though they're like, oh no, it's my fault. I didn't keep it. No. It's my fault because I didn't give you the correct information. Even though at that time I thought I was, just today, knowing what I know, I just can't be responsible, make you feel responsible for me giving you bad information. So I have to help you out to be able to get through this now. And I can't charge you nothing for it. And I'm gonna try to do my best and not have to get any of their monies back. That would just put me in a jam right now. Not even gonna lie, but I'm for sure gonna help you out to make sure that you're gonna get what you need without having to worry about paying anything more, because you've already paid into something. And that's something that is interesting, because I like being able to circle back to some old stuff that I've done, realizing that I fixed this and I fixed this and I fixed this, but yet now we got this and this and this later. And it usually is, I don't know what this 2 to 3 year range is. It's usually 2 or 3 years later. You take your dog, get it board trained, 2 or 3 years later, you're like, whoa, this now, what the heck? And then you're like, oh, it's my fault. I didn't follow up with this. I didn't do this. I didn't do this. I didn't do that. And it's not your fault. It's just the situation of what we got going on out here, with basically saying that if you know how to get it done in 5 minutes, that's what makes you a good trainer. But someone, if it takes them a year to do that, they clearly don't know what they got going on. And us as humans, we just like to gravitate towards that. I want it now. And that's where I'm going to say that we have a big difference in working with dogs today than we probably have ever had before, because we don't spend as much time with them as I'm going to say, pretty much guaranteed used to, especially before the times that we had like TVs. Then especially before we had a time of like cell phones. Before we had a TV, before that black and white TV came out, what was your entertainment? Get up and do something. There was no entertainment of just sitting down and just relaxing. It was like getting up and do pretty much all the time. And when you get up and do, you just naturally like, oh, the dog's here, bring the dog along. Okay, we're going over here. Okay, hey, put the dog in the truck, let's go down over there. And we just did more, because it's just what our lives were. And today we're not set up like that anymore. We're set up for entertainment to just sit down and do nothing. And sit down and do nothing with a dog is not going to give you a dog that you are going to appreciate at all in the end of the day. You got to get up and do nothing with the dog, going somewhere, making things happen with the dog. Not just having the dog sit in the house and, Kahi, come on. Not just have the dog sit in the house and just doing absolutely nothing, and was sitting in the corner. And then my dog is digging, it's chewing up, and how do I get it to stop? And then you get it to stop by putting pressure on the dog. or getting it to understand how to sit in the crate for 18 more hours. And then you bring the dog out and wondering, why is the dog like absolutely crazy? The dog is just unmanageable. It's unmanageable because we're not like fulfilling any of the dog's needs. Thinking that in 5 minutes I get it fixed, but it just doesn't work that way. It just doesn't. It takes years. And that's like, I'm gonna straight up say is the beauty of dogs, because we spend that time to be able to gain better skills at being able to be, you gotta go potty, man? You could do it. I got you. Come here. Go potty. Take the time to be able to get the skills required to be able to just have just a better experience on this planet. And a lot of times we're just stuck in this, I want it in 5 seconds, because we think that that's what's gonna bring us the joy. And that's something that is just not of any value, because the faster that you get something, the faster that you don't really care for it anymore. And that's how, unfortunately, majority of our stuff is today. We're always like, oh, I got this person, that person ain't good enough, so I want this person now. Because we didn't have to do anything to get it. If you actually had to put it together, you had to stitch it, you had to get the leather, you had to go even get the animal and process the animal to be able to get the leather, to be able to get the stuff. You had to go get the yarn, you had to go get the, how do you make that? You make that out of something, you can make that out of wool. Get the sheep, you gotta take the sheep, you gotta shear the sheep, and then you gotta spin the hair to be able to get the wool, to get the yarn. If you did that whole process, you are not gonna want a new purse tomorrow. You're gonna be very, very satisfied with that one purse that you've got, in a way that you're gonna appreciate the all heck and be out of that thing. But since we don't do that anymore, we're just like, oh, next one, that was fun, it was cool. Next one, oh, that was all right, okay, cool. Next one, and we just keep doing that. And that's what I believe we are absolutely messing up with today in how we're working with these dogs. We want it now, and then we just aren't satisfied with it. We just run into that situation that we're just like, okay, well, what's next? And then we're just stumbling and fumbling over and over and over. And that's something that is just I don't know. I don't know. It's just something that is just very, very challenging for us. Very, very, very challenging. And it's something that I would want people to just understand. It's going to take time. And the reason that you're going to enjoy it is because of that time. The reason that you're really going to appreciate it is because of that time. And the reason that you're going to want to continue to keep doing it over and over again is because of that time. But a lot of people today, you got this dog and you're just kind of, I hate to say it like this, but hoping, wishing, and praying for that dog to pass away so that you could just be done with it and don't have to do this again anymore. Because you have this, I don't think that I'm capable of being able to make this happen. And that's not true at all. The main thing is we're doing things that we think are trying to help because we want it in a way that is not appropriate to the animals. And it's something that I want more people to just really, really put into thought. The more that you work on it, the more that you're going to value it. And that comes down to everything. Absolutely everything. That's why even something as simple as like chicken coops that I make. I put it together, I make it. I value it way more than the stupid little metal ones that I put together. They're just like, whatever. I put it up and I'm already trying to figure out how to make something new or how to add this or do that, because there was nothing behind it. There's nothing there. And that's just the beauty, I'm going to say, of life. That somehow we're missing out on. We're wanting everything this instant without putting in that work. But putting in that work is what's going to make you just really absolutely enjoy everything about what it is that you're doing. Thank you. These my dogs. They acting a fool today for some reason. I don't know why. But not every day is perfect and precise and always on it. Some days it's just we doing what we doing. We struggling. Some days are perfect looking and everything is great and good to go, and we just walk in and chilling and they never deviate and we on mission. And there's other days that they're just like, dude, I don't want to do this. And or I'll do it, but I don't want this and I don't want that. And they're just protesting. And that's where, for me, could I easily like slap a piece of equipment on this dog and say, I told you to do it, you better do it. And that's just not where I'm going to use, and someone might not appreciate this word, but that's just not fair to the dog. That's just not fair. I got to allow him to give me a little bit of a protest. I'm going to allow him to give me a little bit of attitude, because that's just the reality of life. I don't want it to be completely emotionless and just, yes, sir, yes, sir. I want him to have a little expression so that he can say, I don't like this. And I can say, okay, well, then let's do something else. But right now, at the end of the day, we're going to do this. We're going to make this happen. It's just what's happening. And it's just is what it is at the end of the day. That I give you some, you give me some. And it can't just always be, you can just do whatever the heck you want to do. There's boundaries here. There's limitations, there's rules here. And that's what I see as builds that nice relationship with the dog. Because it understands that you can't just, we're working back and forth. I'm not just taking, I'm giving them some as well. And that's something that just That's where it takes time. You can't just shut everything down, say no to every single thing, and think that you're gonna enjoy what it is that's going on. Like, you may like it, but your dog's not gonna like it, and your dog's gonna start to protest. That's why it takes a couple years. The dog will protest, and when it finally protests to that point that it says, "Nah, buddy, nah," that's when you're gonna run into a dangerous situation.